Hey guys, this is OGI Toto coming back to you guys again with another video. In today's video, we are going to basically watch Pastor Gino Jennings with another debate video, and this time he is debating Harry Knox. Now, if you guys know who is Harry Knox is a so-called preacher, and he is a homosexual. Now, Harry Knox or maybe Gino Jennings, they was having a heated debate to find out if it's God's will for two men to get married. So, guys, stay tuned, enjoy the show, and let's get started with the video.
Same sex relationship when you're married, or
yes, I believe that there should be commitment, and my community really needs to wrestle with this. Nobody, you will never hear me say that we should be indiscriminately casting around sexual favors, because every time you do, you give something away that you don't get back.
All right.
It's valuable and precious. God intends it that way.
So you say that God, your desire towards your male friend is the will of God then?
I believe it is.
All right, let's balance it out with the scriptures and see who did God intend for desire to be when it comes to marriage. Man to man. Let's see when that law was established, where the desire should be.
Amen.
Listen.
In Genesis chapter 3 and verse 16.
Listen.
Unto the woman he said.
Unto who?
Unto the woman he said.
Now this is the dialogue. Is it God's will? And for us to agree whether a thing is God's will or not, you must agree we must be able to deal with the scriptures.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And so the only thing that would justify you today certainly would be the scriptures.
Let me back that up.
Yes.
Let me back that up a step. I believe that God has given us, and this is what Paul says in Romans throughout the book, not just in one, chapter, one verse that we might lift up.
Yeah.
But throughout the book, Paul says we have the gift of the Spirit for discernment.
All right.
Not everything has been covered, Not everything is in the book that we're ever going to confront. It was written by people who were slave owners or the friends of slave owners.
Okay.
And so you get a bias in the book that the rest of the story of the coming out of the people of Israel flies in the face of. And you have to balance those things. And you have to ask the Spirit, all right, I got two competing things here. I have some things that say it's all right to hold slaves, and slaves should obey their masters. And some things over here that clearly show that God is on the side of the oppressed and doesn't want people to be in slavery. And at that point, when the book is not so crystal clear, one has to listen to the Spirit.
All right.
And I think that's more important than jumping from text to text and saying, this is the law and we got to stick with it.
Okay, so
Just to let you guys know, anytime when people like Harry Knox and Mr. Vegas that I posted yesterday and many other debates that I will post on my channel, anytime they bring up their opinions and things that have nothing to do with the topic that they're discussing, notice they are not confident of finding in the scriptures that promotes their agenda, their beliefs, and also their love of the thing in the Bible. That's why Pastor Jennings is super confident, because he knows that it's not in the Bible. He knows that he knows God's word better than everybody else, because God gave him knowledge and revelation of his word. So understand, anytime people like Harry Knox, Mr. Vegas, and many others that will show on my channel that can't find anything that back up their beliefs and wants and needs that will be justified by God, they already know they lost. And they literally keep trying. But anyway, let's continue the video.
you say let's listen to the Spirit. How do we hear the Spirit?
We certainly hear it through study and prayer, but also in the congregation.
Does the Spirit of God bring us anything that contradicts what's written? Why would God bring us something that contradicts what's written? And then send prophets and apostles for us to believe what's written?
Well, this gets, Brother Pastor, to a place where I think you and I simply will disagree, because it's a different approach to the text, to the whole of the Bible. No, I don't believe that God would, that the Spirit would contradict the Word. My point is that the whole Word has to be embraced. That we cannot take, what amount to 3, verses, or even if you did 7, and say, this is the last word about homosexuality in the Bible. It's not. There's so much more. Jesus, for instance, says about in Matthew, and I wish I was as good as you all at remembering text and verse. I'm a little dyslexic, and I don't remember numbers in my head. But in Matthew, Jesus says the sin of Sodom was inhospitality. He's very clear. It's a little short verse. And that, to me, counters whatever else we might say about the verse, because my Lord said that. So, of course, I hear that with a different power than I do my own experience. But it is clear that that's the issue in that text.
What Jesus was saying, that the problem of Sodom and Gomorrah was they wasn't showing hospitality.
And not just that. I mean, the word is so often in the Bible, the word no. The word no isn't about, as you say, reaching out and shaking hands. It's a cover word. It's a polite word. But what Jesus says is the people of Sodom were so mean and so disrespectful that they deserve to be destroyed. Well, and that, I think, is the issue there.
Well, I agree. They were mean, they were disrespectful, but did they not manifest their meanness and their disrespectfulness and not being hospitable by surrounding the house of one of those men? Wasn't that mean and disrespectful?
It was mean and disrespectful, but let me put it more clearly, but delicately. I don't want to be vulgar.
Oh, well, you can be as sharp and as raw as you like.
Yeah, but I don't want to be too much. You drew a wonderful word picture. If you came in asking for pot and you got offered crack, the point was the pot. I get that. But if a man in the street is cut off by another man in an automobile, and he uses the F word, he says, F you.
Yeah.
He doesn't mean, I would like to go and have consensual, loving sex with you.
Oh, I'm pretty
He
sure
doesn't mean that. The point is the disrespect. The point is the hurtfulness. The point is I want to do 2 things. One is to have power over you. I wish I could have made you not do that, I feel powerless, and so I'm going to say, I want power over you. And pushing a man down and penetrating him makes him powerless in a significant way.
But
if it's a matter of rape, if it's a rape.
Right.
And the other thing is, I want you to have a female role, because still in our world, in spite of all of God's work and the Spirit's work with us, we value women less than men. We're working on it, but we're not there yet. And that anger is manifested in not only, I want power over you, I want to push you down, but then I'm going to make you act like a girl. I'm going to do the things that I can think of that are the hardest for you to take.
So that if he forced that upon him, that's wrong.
Absolutely.
So if a man consent to do it without force, it's right?
It's a completely different thing.
Is it right?
It is in my mind, sure.
Okay.
As it is when a woman consents to be penetrated by a man in the sexual act.
You made a key statement. You say in your mind, would you agree that God is the best mind?
I do.
We plan, God planned, but God is the greatest of planners. Would you not agree?
I agree.
All right, then let's go by the scriptures, because see, if you say you're a Christian, that means you're Christ-like.
I want to be. I work at it every day.
And that means you got to take whatever Christ said. Is that right?
It does.
All right,
I'm gonna get the water.
Yeah, all right. You get some water and bring it up here if you like. Now,
you're accustomed to being under these hot lights. I'm
yes,
not.
I am.
And you're accustomed to being on the spot, and I'm not.
Well, basically, now listen. Glory to God. My sole interest is, because listen, viewers and brothers and sisters, this is a message that he's sending to the public. Basically, that it's all right for men to have sex with men if they are married. I I can accept that on one term. If God said it, then I can accept it. Now, how can you be a Christian preacher representing Christ, representing the Bible, representing the church that the apostles were in, and preach marriage or the justification of physical relation in a manner that none of the prophets, nor Jesus, nor the apostles said it's all right to do?
It really is easy for me to answer, Brother Pastor.
All right.
The people who ask the questions get the answers to the questions they ask. And gay people have never been the powerful people in history. Never.
Okay.
And so the conversations that are recorded between Jesus and those who asked questions of him or to whom he was teaching are between people who were regarded as heterosexual.
All right.
The assumption was that they were, as it is in most conversations. When I go into a conversation, everyone assumes that I'm non-gay, that I'm heterosexual,
Okay.
until they learn to the contrary. That's the nature of our culture. And it is simply not responsible for us to look for that conversation to be had in the Bible when there's no one to speak up for the powerless. For the same reason that women are disrespected in so much of the Bible, because they were powerless. The conversations in the Bible about them were among men.
But how can you compare women to two men being married? That's totally different.
How do you mean? I don't understand what you
Well, if I sleep with my wife, I'm complying with the law of God. In the book of Genesis, let's read where the Lord said the desire of the woman should be.
In Genesis chapter 3 and verse 16.
Listen.
Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception.
Yeah.
In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children.
In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children.
And thy desire
Your desire
shall be
to
to thy husband.
This was established in the beginning,
That's right.
where the desire should be between two people in a marriage.
That's right.
And you saying that you are justified by having your desire. You're married, I presume.
I'm not. I'm
You're
not
not.
partnered at all.
You and your partner not married.
I do not have a partner.
You don't have a partner.
Right.
But if you get married, you plan on marrying a man or a woman.
I would marry a man.
You would marry a man.
Yes.
And represent.
Alright guys, that's all I can show. Thank you guys for watching the first part of Pastor Gino Jennings versus Harry Knox. And guys, leave a like, subscribe, and tell me what you guys think about this video. Anyways guys, peace.